Hi. So I just watched a movie that kind of inspired this topic. I'm going to attempt to not be triggering, not mention any actual details of what happened, more likely just what I felt about what happened. So this was a long ass time ago. I was a smaller Melissa. Basically, well, the topic is sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, or I guess just general sexual abuse if it applies to anyone else, but in my case, child sexual abuse. And what I felt initially at the time was a lot of shame. And I'm not talking about shame about what happened, like not necessarily where any hands were. It was more about my thoughts, ashamed of my thoughts, ashamed of the fact that I perceived, which was, I didn't exactly perceive it wrong, but I needed at the time to believe that I perceived it wrong in order to cope with what had happened. And so I felt very ashamed of myself for having thought that something had happened when clearly this person that I trusted could never have done that, right? So I just couldn't believe it. I didn't want to. I refused to. It just was too difficult. I felt more confused than scared. I felt more confused. I wasn't like traumatized at the time. I didn't get it. Like I couldn't perceive, and I was confused as to why that was happening, and So I think that my confusion and my making myself believe that it couldn't possibly have been true was what saved me from being scarred further from that particular event. I think that we, or at least but I think in general, we need to find a way to cope. So we don't necessarily, fuck yeah, bitches. We don't necessarily pinpoint exactly, I don't know, how do I say it? We don't want to believe, so we cope in whatever way we can, or maybe we go somewhere else in our minds. That's what I did. I developed other worlds in my head, and I would escape in my head. Overall, not that time, because I just was so confused, but that was one of the first times that I can remember it happening. So I don't know, I guess the point of this video is to say, if you felt that way, you're not alone. You don't have to feel ashamed. You don't have to feel that it is your fault, because it isn't. Like, how could it be? How could it be your fault? So I don't know, you're not alone. We spend so much time feeling alone. And it's the funniest thing, because so many of us feel alone. How can we be alone when there's so many of us feeling it? We go to this place where loneliness exists and everyone is there. So, in essence, none of us are alone. None of us are alone. We just don't know it at the time. So, reach out. Get help. And you don't have to be ashamed.